This video contains spoilers for The Amazing Digital Circus Episode 7. Do not watch if you have not watched The Amazing Digital Circus Episode 7, as you will be spoiled and the video won't make any sense. The Amazing Digital Circus Episode 7 is dropped, and the word "huh" is an amazing description for the ending, especially since it's so sudden and so much happened in those final few minutes which aren't explained. From Jax's panic attack, to the reveal that Kane was testing the players, to Kinga's comment about the first abstraction. It opens so many questions, and is like, huh? But this video is not an analysis or theory video. It's just a broad overview of my thoughts on the episode. So let's begin, starting with how much I adored the beach scenes. They were so much fun. I adored seeing all of them in bathing suits and playing games, especially the scenes of Pomni with the NPCs under the water. When Pomni and Jax were wet, they looked really realistic, yet still very pretty. Especially Pomni. It was really good animation. Also, those scenes with the sun and the fish NPCs were really funny. I liked the fish the most personally. I know some people are going to call Zubul a bitch for how she treated Jax, but while I feel bad for him, make no mistake, I am worried about him and I do like him as a character, he still isn't that good to the other characters, and what Zubul is doing is just a funny little prank considering all the things Jax has done to them during and before the events of the show. He is not the good guy in this situation, or really any situation thus far. Jax's drug trip was strange to watch and looked really out of place, but that was definitely by design. I think some of the shapes looked a bit like Ribbit and Kaufmo. I don't know where that hand came from. It looks like it could have been what the characters see before abstraction. Seems like the kind of thing a person may see during a mental breakdown. All this could tie back to that scene from Pomni's dream in her own bedroom in episode 2. It just occurred to me that that might be what Jax says when holding his breath, and this is what happens. I'm really glad that his room was finally shown, and the reveal that it is very traditionally feminine raises a few questions for me on Jax's masculinity. I mean, he mentioned it in episode 5, and he was very upset about being put in the maid outfit, something which is also associated with traditional femininity, so I think he might be insecure about his masculinity or seeming feminine. Jax slowly turning over that photo revealing him and his friends in the past was so heartbreaking. Kane was most likely aware Jax was close to abstracting, and that's why he had him doing all that stuff during the adventure, to keep his brain stimulated. I adored Kane this episode, even if he drove me nuts. Not as much as he drove the characters nuts, especially Jax, but all the same. Kane shows many sides of himself and his programming, his desire for the players' approval, his weaknesses, and how much control he truly has over the game. When Abel appeared, I was curious, and when he called himself Abel, I literally screamed and clapped my hands. When Abel said, "You can call me Abel," I was like, oh my god. What a callback to Cain and Abel from the mythology. How he was speaking about Kinga made me suspicious. Like, what role did he play? Does he have some sort of involvement in what went down with Queenie? Because even if he is an NPC, he clearly didn't want Kinga involved, or Kane didn't, because of Kinga's knowledge of the game, since he's most likely a programmer. And Queenie was probably a programmer too and started to piece together the truth, which is what led to her abstraction. As Kane, based off what Kinga said by the end, may be the reason why the first abstraction happened, and if he can cause one abstraction, he can cause 2 abstractions, or more. When I heard Abel's story, I was like, that can't be it. That can't be what this all built towards, right? It's just so predictable, and I was right. There is no exit, or at least not one Kane is willing to provide. Also, it's pretty obvious Abel's initial purpose was just to watch the players and relay information to them, as seen within episode 3, but Kane changed things up for this adventure, which presumably only happened because of what happened at the Favourite Character Awards. Poor Kane. I really am glad that the players have put together that Kane can control them. It's going to cause them to question a lot of things that they previously haven't been considering, and may lead them to finding the exit or something else. I suspect they might investigate the abstractions on their own, as Kinga alluded to the idea that Kane may be responsible for the first abstraction, which he could tell the others about, which could lead to them investigating the basement. I mean, this episode was made very clear what was previously only suspected, which is that Kane is lying. Not about everything, but about some things. CNA probably plays a role in what's going on, and Kinga not being included means that Abel saying all that stuff about Kinga being a programmer on the game was most likely true. I'll do a longer video going over my own theories for the future episodes of The Amazing Digital Circus, building off the stuff I mentioned here, but not right now, as this is just a broad overview of my thoughts. And overall, this was an amazing episode of The Amazing Digital Circus, even if it left me with so many more questions than it answered.